Hey, how are you? My name is Sangano David, and I'm here to give my public lecture. I hope this video finds you in a good spirit and very educating. So, I am a master student at the University of International Management, known as IUM. Our topic for today is decision making, but we are going to focus more on navigating decision making in a classroom management. Then every teacher has faced moments where the right decision seemed just out of reach. Now let's quickly look at our topic. We said navigating decision making in a classroom management. There are two terminologies there, decision making as well as classroom management. We are aware that classroom management is a cornerstone of effective teaching, requiring educators to make timely decisions that balance the academic goals, the student behavior, and diverse needs. So, decision making plays a crucial role in shaping the classroom and ultimately educational outcomes. So, the focus is on how teachers and educational leaders make impactful decisions to maintain effective and inclusive classroom environments. Now, as I stated, there are two terms within our topic, decision making as well as classroom management. Looking at classroom management, looking at decision making, what exactly is decision making? So, according to Coates 2010, decision making is defined as the process of deciding to adopt a certain course of action from various alternatives to achieve a set of predetermined goals. So today's lecture addresses daily realities educators face, such as managing diverse student needs, handling classroom behavior, and making impactful decisions among limited resources involving technologies. It's also going to provide actionable strategies to navigate these complexities effectively. Now, let's look at classroom management. Classroom management refers to the strategies and practices educators use to create and maintain an environment conducive to learning. So classroom management, it involves clear expectations. It also needs to foster a positive relationship among the teacher and the learners, and as well as addressing the behavior challenges to ensure that students remain engaged and focused. Now, what are some of the decisions that teachers take on a daily basis? We have a lot of decisions that teachers take on a daily basis. Some can be the seating arrangements, the behavior management strategies, the group work and individual work, handling disruptions, choosing instructional methods based on the student's needs. Let's quickly start with seating arrangements. So when it comes to seating arrangements, as an educator, one needs to ensure that the seating arrangement should be flexible to allow free movement of the teacher and the learner. Very important. The seating arrangement should be made in clusters, whereby small groups, so that it can encourage interactions among learners as well as teamwork, and must be technology friendly spaces where, if necessary, equipped with power outlets, devices, and needs to support the modern learning needs. The arrangement also needs to promote an environment which is inclusive, ensuring that all students, including those with physical disabilities, they have equal access to resources and participation. To move on with behavior management strategies. For a positive reinforcement, the teacher has to reward the desired behavior. It's always important that we do that as educators. Through praise, or either you use tokens or as well as privileges, whereby you need to encourage the repetition of good behavior and discourage the undesired or unwanted behavior within the classroom. The rules also needs to be set up, very much essential. Rules need to be set up. These rules, it needs to be clear. It needs to be collaborated. When the educator sets up this rule, the educator needs to work with the learners or the students. They need to collaborate to create these rules. And they should be positively framed to set expectations. Every rule has consequences, they say. So these consequences should be fair and consistent for inappropriate behavior, including the logical consequences and restorative practices. Then we have group work and individual work. When it comes to this, when you are preparing your lesson, you look at your lesson. What is the main objective or the goal of the lesson? If the main goal of the lesson is about creativity, critical thinking, as well as promote social learning, then we need to use group work. But if the goal of the lesson is all about mastery and personal growth or an assessment, then we can focus on individual work. So when it comes to group work needs clear roles. Now these clear roles can either be a recorder or a presenter to avoid the chaos. As well as the individual work or individual tasks needs clear and well elaborated criteria. Some of the things we face, some of the decisions and challenges we face here are what we call handling disruptions as well. So when it comes to handling disruptions such as fights, bullying, and unnecessary movements, and severe respect or aggressive behavior, or any disruption that threatens to delay the entire lesson, should be dealt with immediately. But disruptions that can be handled later, that can be either the minor off-task behavior, the chatting, the doodling, the daydreaming, or even the emotional situations whereby the students need time to cool off, or giving attention to attention-seeking students. Those ones they can disturb. Let's also look at choosing the instructional methods based on the student needs. These are some of the decisions we make as educators on a daily basis. So as a teacher, one needs to select an instructional method by considering that there are unique learners with unique learning needs. These learning needs can either be the visual, the auditory, kinesthetic learners, and these learners, they need different approaches. Now, these approaches, we can either choose to use either diagrams or discussions or even hands-on activities. But the advanced learners now, these students may need kind of enrichment, while as we work with the struggling students, whereby we need to focus more on scaffolding as well as support. Now, and then we also have what we face on a daily basis are the inclusive methods. So we need to ensure that the method that we use in our classroom, they need to be inclusive, that they need to respect and reflect on the diverse expectations to boost the engagement of the learners. No learner needs to feel like they are left out. As an educator, tailor your lessons to students' interest to ensure that it increases the participation and ownership. And it's a learner-centered approach that we use within our classrooms on a daily basis. We need also to adjust the like using assertive technologies and offering extra time, which is very, very much important for equity purpose. There are factors as well as that influence the classroom decisions. So these factors they make it difficult for us to make these decisions. So these factors, there are different types of factors that can influence the classroom decisions. These factors can either be the students' diversity, the background of these students, the learning style of these students, the special needs, etc. So we can also look at the class size and availability of resources. This also poses an influence on the classroom decision. The school policies and expectations, the real-time classroom dynamics. How is the energy within the classroom? What is the mood within the classroom? Okay. Now, let's look at the frameworks to guide the decision making. Frameworks that guide this decision making. We can either focus on responsive classroom approach, whereby this approach blends the strong relationships and respectful management and engaging academics to create a classroom whereby these students, they need to feel safe, they are capable, and they feel ready to learn. We also have what we call assertive discipline model, which focuses on clear rules, the consistent consequences, and firm expectations, which means that teachers, not aggressively but assertively, they manage students' behavior by communicating the expectations clearly, following through firmly. Okay. On the other hand, we also have data-informed decisions, whereby we use data thoroughly alongside with experience. Data with experience. Okay? Data with experience and context and judgment. This helps guide the classroom and the school decisions. It's more of interpreting the data and not just following the numbers blindly. We have common challenges in decision making. We come across the hurdles and make us difficult to make decisions. So some of these common challenges within decision making, it can be the emotional influence. It can be incomplete and unreliable information. It makes us difficult to make decisions when you have little knowledge about the problem. Competing priorities and interests, also another challenge. Time pressure, complexity of issues, the fear of making mistakes, resources constraints, and resistance to change. These are some of the challenges in decision making. Now let's quickly look at the emotional influence. The role of emotional intelligence in decision making. So emotional intelligence is known as the ability to understand, to manage, and to respond to emotions, and it plays a critical role in making wise, fair, and effective decisions, especially within the education sector. The emotional intelligence also ensures that decisions are calm, decisions are fair, decisions are thoughtful, decisions are empathetic, and decisions focus on growth and not rushed and not emotionally driven. So what are the key ways in whereby emotional intelligence supports decision making? So emotional intelligence, it's all about the self-awareness, whereby one needs to recognize your own emotions, and it helps to prevent impulsive decisions. And leaders and teachers who are self-aware can pause, can reflect, and can make choices thoughtfully. Self-regulation, need to control your emotional reactions, anger or anxiety. And it's crucial, especially during conflicts, that we need to put our emotions aside. Calm decision makers can think clearly under pressure. Understanding how decisions affect others, be it the students, be it the parents, be it the staff, It helps to build trust and fairness. Now, empathetic teachers or leaders, they anticipate emotional response and they communicate decisions more sensitively. We also have, when it comes to emotional intelligence, we also have social skills. It plays a crucial role in decision making. So good relationship helps leaders and teachers gather honest input. They create more collaborative decisions. And as a leader or as an educator, the emotional intelligence individuals, they stay committed to a long-term goals even when facing short-term challenges. So you don't let these things impact or influence your decisions. Be very, very smart to that. And emotional intelligent individuals, they are always driven by the bigger picture. They focus on the student success as well as the school improvement rather than the personal frustration. Now, the common challenges in decision making can be the incomplete and unreliable information, as we discussed earlier. Now, the incomplete and unreliable decisions, these decisions have often been made without all facts, without listening to both parties. All the data may be outdated, biased, or missing important perspectives. Completing priorities and interests. Completing priorities and interests. Students, be it parents, be it teachers or administrators, may all want different things, but it's up to you as a leader. Leaders and teachers, you need to balance multiple, sometimes conflicting needs in order to make sure that you have made the right decision. Time pressure, whereby the quick decisions are sometimes needed, especially with behavior management or emergency, but leaving little time for careful thinking. This also is one of the challenges that affect the decision making. Emotional influence. As I spoke earlier about emotional intelligence, personal feelings or stress can cloud the judgment. So emotional reactions might lead to impulsive and unfair decisions. So we need to be emotionally intelligent, emotionally aware within ourselves when it comes to decision making. Complexity of issues, whereby educational problems, they often don't have a simple right or wrong answer. So you are in the middle, you have to decide. Solutions may have unintended consequences. The fear of making mistakes or the fear of backlash from the parents, from the students, from the public can make leaders overly cautious and hesitant to act. And some of the challenges, the common challenges, is the lack of resources, whereby there's lack of money, the lack of staff, or the lack of materials, or limited materials, and the options available, even when the best choices is clear. Okay? We also have another challenge, which is resistance to change. Even when better solutions are found, people may resist because they prefer what is familiar, they prefer doing things the way it is usually done. Now, what are some of the best practices that I have for you when it comes to decision making in a classroom management? Always set clear expectations to your students. Set clear expectations, build a strong relationship with your students, and as a good leader, reflect after your decisions. You ask yourself what worked, what didn't. So effective decision making in a classroom management, it requires the balancing of data. One needs to be empathetic, one needs to be professional when it comes to the judgment. So by navigating the challenges and thoughtfully using emotional intelligence, educators can create supportive, a fair, and a dynamic learning environment. Ultimately, good decisions, they lay the foundation for the student success and a positive school culture. Thank you very much for your time to listen to this lecture. Highly appreciate. Have a good day.